5AA forecast. Possible showers, a shower or two, and a top of 17 today. Friday, a possible shower and 17. A shower or two and 17 again for Saturday. Partly cloudy on Sunday, a top of 19. Then partly cloudy for Monday and Tuesday next week, with temperatures in the low 20s. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Peter Godfrey, talking Adelaide on 1395 5AA.
6 minutes past 5, and we're right on 10 degrees at the moment. Welcome to Thursday, 1st of September. It is spring as far as I'm concerned. Looking forward to some nice spring weather. Let's see if spring has sprung across the ditch in New Zealand. Selwyn Manning with us now, editor of EveningReport.nz. Has spring sprung your side of the ditch, Selwyn?
It certainly looks like it, Peter. Looking outside here, and I was out and about earlier this morning, and I think we're destined for a nice fine day here. Yeah, a bit of cloud around earlier on, but it's already burnt off, so that's quite nice. Look around the fields, it's got that feel of spring.
Yeah.
Out to the country areas, spring lambs are all out. Of course, it's New Zealand, so there's a lot of those about. Bobby calves, and cows are giving birth all over the place.
Yeah.
And you look in the parks, and there's all the signs of spring. It's great, daffodils, tulips, etc., and the buds ripening. You can see them getting bigger on the fruit trees, ready to burst open. And even some of the flowering cherries are out, so that's quite
beautiful.
cool.
Nice. Yeah, actually, we've got a couple of daffodils. Jan put some daffodil bulbs in a little while back, and a couple of them have bloomed already, which is nice.
That's great, isn't it? Yeah, we've had a few around here too, and just waiting for the tulips in the home garden to come out. But certainly in the parks, they've got to jump on everybody.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I think the temperatures here, just to do a comparison there, we had an overnight low in Auckland of 10 degrees and heading for a high of 16 degrees and fine blue skies.
There we go. Pretty much same here, 17 we've got for today, and 10 degrees at the moment. That's about the low we've been. Although we got a couple of showers coming at some point during the day. So there we go. Okay. What's a few things making headlines over your part of the world?
Okay, just looking at the New Zealand Herald, it's actually leading with an offshore story, behind the scenes, the real Donald Trump exposed, and it's going over a massive archive showcasing Donald Trump's off-camera details have been released, and then it goes into the sensational, here are the most shocking things we learned. So it's obviously a cable piece that it's pushing there. There's also a bit of a softer story. There's a lot of media coverage around Phil Rudd, AC/DC's former drummer, and he's kind of making a bit of comeback, cleaned up his life. We can have a quick talk about that a little later on, but the Herald has focused in on an angle of his new girlfriend, a rekindled romance after 30 years. So that's... Phil Rudd's getting a lot of attention, actually, in a positive sense over here, instead of last year where he was sitting a bit below.
Yeah.
If we go across to the Fairfax's stuff.co.nz website, it's leading with Shipwrecked Home, and it's talking about an Auckland man who escaped the housing crisis, Peter, by living in a boat until it was shipwrecked. So it's a bit of a interesting story, and then a bit of got a nasty edge to it. It also looks at Brazil's president who has been dumped after the impeachment process, and also another one where it's brought home a story here where there's a woman in New Zealand who is waiting to hear what had happened to her brother, who was still missing after the earthquakes in Italy. She'd lost her mother and her father in that earthquake, and she's sitting here, and she's got a sad bit of news this week where her brother's body had been found. There's also an Australian story here about a toddler who ate a lethal dose of drugs. So you guys know all about that, and it's making the news over here. Look at Radio New Zealand. It's leading about homeowners demanding answers over steel mesh, and this is steel mesh that is put into the concrete slabs underneath the homes, and particularly around the Christchurch area after the Christchurch earthquake. Now the insurance companies are saying, and it seems that they're correct, that the steel mesh is not actually meeting building code, meaning it's not going to do its job properly. The reinforcing mesh is being bought from overseas, and a lot of it's sourced from China, and it seems to be dodgy in its composition, and also falsified elements of how safe it's supposed to be in its safety ratings, etc. Now, the insurance companies overseas in England that underwrite a lot of these insurance companies here come out saying, well, if this mesh isn't kosher, we're not going to pay out if there's any future damage on these homes. And then the Christchurch owners may be taking a joint class action to court on this, because they're saying that the insurance companies themselves were a lot of the ones that handled the actual building process or the rebuilding process. So some of them are going to the government as well. That's a big issue, actually. It's going to linger on. A lot of people get sick of this. You know, you pay your insurance monies. I'm sure it's the same with you guys over there, Peter. You pay your insurance monies. You expect that if something goes wrong with your home or your car or whatever, that these insurance companies are going to honour that deal and cough up with the money. A lot of people in Christchurch, like you know, Peter, are still waiting all these years later, 5 years after their homes were demolished.
Yeah, and the issue of poor quality building materials, I mean, that comes up here from time to time too, particularly with imported stuff that just doesn't, isn't up to the job, or building materials containing asbestos, which is banned from here. So, yeah, we can relate to that, that's for sure.
And here, there's been a lot of this type of thing in the last few months, but certainly in the steel area, that's a big deal with importing steel from China and then finding that it actually doesn't meet specifications, despite it having been said to be so.
On to the big story we got to talk about this morning. Crime statistics from your part of the world, your burglary rate, the number of burglaries. I'm struggling with that word this morning. Been on the increase.
Yes, that's right. And we've had a winter of record homelessness, housing house prices in Auckland in particular. A lot of people are finding themselves not quite making the kind of money that they expected. A lot of people are down and out. We're seeing, not just saying it's the poor people who are doing these burglaries. I'm having problems with it too, but certainly the rates are going up, Peter. New Zealand reported yesterday, here's the official stuff here, burglaries increased by 11.9% in the 12 months to July. So that's from July last year to July now. In New Zealand overall, they went up just a hair's breadth short of 12%. The negative trend has also been deteriorating for some time, Peter. If we look back over 2 years, the latest statistics show that burglaries are up 29% over the 2-year period to July, with robberies up 44% and assaults have increased by 10%. So look at that robberies rate, 44%. And it does seem that, most robberies are not even being reported here anymore, Peter. They're just going on all the time, and people are, people in the shopkeeper areas, got a high Sikh and Indian population in general that are running the dairies and grocery stores and things like that here. And they're actually politicising and forming a party called the People's Party, and they want to put security and law and order right at the top of that. So these established parties like the Nationals and Labour, they're starting to actually wake up to this fact, particularly National. It's been in government for 8 years here, and it's police statistics are going down. And one of the big angles here is, shouldn't say angles, one of the things that people are looking at, well, what's the cause of this increase? And Greg O'Connor from the Police Association, he basically says that a lot of these burglaries are people who have been caught in the methamphetamine grip, with P as we call it, or ice as you call it, and they're having to feed a very expensive habit. And the soul-destroying kind of lifestyles that come from that. And the burglaries are a consequence of this. He says, and I quote here, while many offence types can fluctuate, burglary figures tend to be a good litmus test of how criminal activity is taking place, how much criminal activity is taking place in our community. End of the quote. He also added, Peter, that it's clear that the public are now becoming concerned about the crime situation, how it's deteriorating. He says it's inevitable after, and I quote here, after many years of underinvestment. Now he is really kicking the government in the guts over this one. He's saying that they have not been honouring their commitment. When they came into power, John Key, one of the points he came into power on was increasing the numbers of police. I think, the equation was 500 police officers, above 500 police officers per 100,000, and he has already not made that. And the number of police on the beat, for example, is less. We notice when we drive around the country, Peter, that there are fewer police patrolling the highways and the streets. It's really noticeable. You can go for hours without even seeing a cop. And sometimes, I believe that you see the behaviour adjusting, and people are noticing that kind of thing. Yeah. So the police minister, she says, well, and she's a canny one. The police minister here has spoken a few times about this woman, who is Judith Crusher Collins, and she's got the nickname Crusher because of when she first became a minister, she made a big deal of going to have the boy racer cars. They infringe after a few times, but put into a crusher machine. And she was there pushing the button, crushing the cart a bit. So that's Judith Crusher Collins. Now, she says that they're going to get more police recruits going through the police college, meaning more police on the beats. Hopefully, she reckons they'll get ahead of the attrition rate, meaning people that leave the police force, getting more people into it, and that there will be targeted efforts to address burglary complaints. What she's doing there is basically what came into office way back in 1999-2000 under Helen Clark, and the police had been left pretty badly by the Nationals in their time in office. Prior to that, there were fewer police on the ground. Labor came in, made a commitment to increase that, and also burglaries, like it is now. A lot of people are not getting police even coming to even a soccer or a scene of crime officer turning up to have a look at a place that's been burgled. That's what it was like back then. Labor came and said, right, police will go to every burglary that is reported within a 24-hour period. They got that down to a 10-hour period until they were ahead of that. But the Police Association now, Peter, just to steal this off, is saying that's great, but you've got to be careful that, you've got the extra cops to do that. Coming off other serious investigations like into methamphetamine, etc., like that. So National, it's got a challenge there, and Crusher Collins, she's no friend of John Key, or should say she's got her ambitions ahead of her, and she only a couple of weeks ago was saying she had sent a message to the Prime Minister to get more police, so you can see she's already trying to deflect the pressure onto the Prime Minister, knowing that she may be a candidate for the leadership should he face his political demise.
Okay. One thing that's happened here over years in regard to police is we sort of went through a phase where there were sort of smaller police stations set up in sort of, suburban shopping centres or, little shop front sort of police station, I think they called them. But now we've kind of gone another way where a lot of them are being closed or they're sort of consolidating the number of police stations. Part of the rationale on that is to get police away from all the administration type duties that tied up a lot of their time, to get them out on the beat, basically, or out in patrols. Is anything like that happening over there? Is there sort of moves to sort of reshuffle within the police ranks to get more people out on the beat from the numbers that are already there?
You're ahead of us in that way. There's a reluctance by a lot of police to actually do the beat work. Because it involves a lot more work as far as people coming up and, making complaints. But then once again, reflect back to the 2000s, and in this law and order area, there was a concerted effort to actually connect the police to the public. And so the preventative police measures, the amount of money going into that preventative policing, like what you've addressed there, have increased considerably, and there seem to be quite big gains made from that. And it was the rationale clearly being that the police are seen and they are in the community, they're listening to the community, they're ahead of what's going on.
Yeah.
And, we saw big efforts and even big experiments in this way relating to where police would be living in communities in Waikato back in the 2000s that had huge impacts on the rates of crime that were being recorded and reported. So this is a big issue for New Zealand. Obviously, the subsequent police ministers, Crusher Collins has not been the police minister over the whole 8 years. She's back into the role after other ministers having had it, that I've got to say appeared to be very soft, and that shows at budget time when the police money with the money's divvied out and the police are not getting their fair share. And, when we've got complexities, obviously, in our society at the moment, Peter, that's a recipe for a disaster. So Crusher Collins, it's all on her to fix this. Let's see if she does.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll just have a quick break and we'll be back with you with more. Selwyn Manning is editor of EveningReport.nz. Back in a moment.
We're the home of Father's Day with all sorts of presents for all sorts of dads. We're the home of great choice. Everything from plants to power tools. We'll help you pick the perfect present. And we're the home of quality products that won't let your dad down. So if you're looking for a gift that'll knock Dad's socks and jocks off, it's time to go home. The Big Aqua Building on North East Road. Direct home timber and hardware, North East Road, mate.
Where do you go for a $3,000 minimum trade-in? That's right, $3,000 minimum trade-in on a new or demo Mitsubishi? You go to Agostino. Right now at Agostino Mitsubishi, you'll get $3,000 minimum trade-in on new and demo Mirage and Lancer. Yes, $3,000 minimum trade-in. Terms and conditions apply. So go to Agostino Mitsubishi. 2 great locations. LVD 25301.
Dreaming of Europe? Phil Hoffman Travel has just released the most unbelievable fares. Fly with Qatar Airways to Europe from, wait for it, just $919 return. This incredible offer is on now, but must end 5th of September. Don't miss out. Fly Qatar Airways to Europe from only $919 return per person when 2 people are travelling. Hurry, call Phil Hoffman Travel, the travel and cruise specialists. Visit pht.com.au.
The 60-Second Mentor, thanks to Vero Business Insurance, the experts in protecting your success. This week, Mike Davis, co-CEO of plantminer.com.au.
Gut instinct in decision-making is very topical in our business. We've got more and more of a focus on being data-driven in all areas of our business. But having said that, we feel like there's only so far that the data can get you, and there are equally as many decisions where you've got to trust your gut. We'll get a small working party together. If all of us feel like it's the right move, then we go for it.
Hear this in full at 60secondmentor.com.au and find out how to win a $20,000 business grant thanks to Vero Insurance. Insurer is Vero Insurance. First, consider the PDS to see if it's right for you. Ask your broker for a copy.
What do you get when you cross a world-famous supermarket with one fabulous coastal location? Henley Square Foodland. The state-of-the-art supermarket at Henley Square now makes it even more convenient to shop and get the best for your family. With great service, huge range of groceries, restaurant quality produce that can't be beat, and free undercover car parking for the first 2 hours. Why shop anywhere else? Henley Square Foodland. Check us out at henleysquarefoodland.com.au for more info on our fresh produce and delicious recipe ideas.
Peter Godfrey on 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
And we're taking a look across the ditch, seeing what's happening over in New Zealand. Selwyn Manning with us, editor of EveningReport.nz. Now, Selwyn, the all-conquering Wallabies did it again last week. So the all-conquering All Blacks. Sorry, I said that wrong, didn't I? The all-conquering All Blacks.
I was saying you must have fallen asleep halfway through the game, Peter. But,
yes. Sorry, I was looking at one thing and trying to say another. Yeah, gee, 29-9. We can see who the better team is, can't we?
Yeah, and that's the second game on the trot. The one before was 42-9, so clearly, the skill sets are out of balance there. One of the comments that came through from the All Blacks camp after this particular game where the Bledisloe Cup was sealed between the two teams here was that the All Blacks would prefer to see a competitive Wallaby side, and I thought, that's throwing salt in the wound.
Oh, is it ever? Yeah.
That there, but that was indicative to really what was going on in the game. It wasn't a particularly good game. The Wallabies actually came with huge attitude, which is fantastic. The week before, clearly they weren't in the headspace ready for, let's say, taking on the world champions in this particular sport. So that was in evidence by the score on the first one, 42-9, to rub it in there, Peter. But the second game, they certainly fronted up. But the problem is that it was very clear in this first half even that the attitude and getting up there, being powerful, taking it to the All Blacks was not being channeled into the skills that were required to get some scores on the board. In fact, penalty counts going against the Wallabies one after another. After the game, there were a few incidents that happened during the game very quickly. Like, for example, one of the All Blacks all fired up, allegedly. I've got to say allegedly here because it was found by the officials not to be the case. But, there was a lot of emphasis about an eye gouging incident where an All Black looked like he stretched across and did that to one of the Wallabies. That went huge on social media. Even big players like some from Ireland and that in their international team, they're actually engaging with social media on that, saying this is appalling. once again, the officials said, no, it didn't happen. It was, something else. Another incident in the game was I won't mention their name, that's not fair. One of the Wallabies grabbed the boot of another All Black, pulled it off and chucked it off the field. So you get an idea of what the game was like. It's certainly notwithstanding what you would expect between two international sides. After the game, the Wallaby coach was moaning about the referee, and he was saying that the referee was biased against the Wallabies and in favour of the All Blacks. He alleged that the All Blacks coach had met with the referee prior to the game without the Wallaby coach being present. The All Black camp said that just did not happen. Who knows what went on there? It just seems like the Trans-Tasman rivalry, Peter, became quite septic after this particular game, and a lot of people are thinking, well, good, two sparring, teams here, they've got to make a bit of a breather before they face up against each other again in about a month's time in October. In between that, you guys are playing South Africa, I think, this week and the weekend. I've had to check those dates for you guys in the sports areas, no doubt would know that. I should know that. And the All Blacks will be facing Argentina, then South Africa, and then playing you guys again after that. So let's see if things can improve. But certainly, the Wallaby great, Peter Fitzsimmons, former Wallaby player, of course, he said on Radio New Zealand this week that the allegations of referee bias were ridiculous in his view. So he was really kicking the coach. And he also said that the debate should focus on improving the basic skills that in his day were drummed into the players at club level, and said that were not there in evidence during the game against the All Blacks last weekend. So this issue has consumed the news right through since the game played over the side of the dispute. It's a big deal, obviously, radio over here, to be like something of this calibre going on in your Aussie rules.
Have to leave it there, Selwyn. Many thanks for joining us on the program this morning. You have a great week. Enjoy the taste of spring that you're getting, and we'll catch you again next week.
Sounds good, Peter.
All the best. Selwyn Manning, editor of EveningReport.nz, 5:28 now.
In 1977, Elvis died and Nordic Honda was born. In 1987, interest rates hit 18%, but you could still afford a new Honda from Nordic. In 1997, the Crows won the flag. Nordic Honda won awards for service. In 2007, the final Harry Potter book was released, and Nordic Honda's service was described as magical. In 2017, whatever happens, Adelaide's longest-serving Honda dealer will still be providing top deals and service at the top of Glen Osmond Road.
Nordic Honda. Have you made plans for a celebration or function? At the Maid of Auckland, your next event will be tailor-made. With multiple function areas available, the Maid of Auckland can cater for a wide range of options, from a la carte, seated to cocktail or presentation style. With a food and beverage package to suit, your next event really will be tailor-made. The perfect place for your next celebration or function. The Maid of Auckland, South Road, Edwardstown.